Time for another weekly market analysis. This is for week number 21 out of 52. So that's May 22nd through the 26th. All right, here we go. Let's kick it off with the S&P 500. Looking at the monthly chart, we can see not a whole lot's changed since last month. It is still in that steady upward grind, a little bit higher and higher and higher, taking its sweet old time, getting up into that bearish area up there at the 430 or so mark. So we can say that this bull is just walking quite slow uphill, but it's getting there little by little. On the weekly chart, we can see a little more definition on this. We've had multiple returns into that bearish resistance or supply area, and higher lows usually means prices will continue higher. In fact, we see even more evidence of that from the breakout that has just happened this week from that box pattern that I drew in there, that gray rectangle. That's just that sideways constriction of price. We now see an expansion of price happening right now this week in the SPY. So we have those higher highs and higher lows than the box pattern, and it's now breaking out of that in the upper portion of that bearish resistance area. So chances are this will continue higher on the weekly chart. So the location right now as of this week is bearish still, but the direction is bullish, and that is where the momentum is at the moment. On the daily chart, we can see that we definitely have a more bullish commitment. Price did break out of that smaller box pattern. It was a real tight consolidation there between about 410 to 415 area, and it just recently broke out these past 3 days. A nice, strong, bullish move out of that. So I put in the notes there, be prepared to buy pullbacks around the 412 area, give or take, in that box area basically. And I put two different scenarios on there. Sure, I guess scenario number one, it could just continue going higher, although that's not that likely after a big move like this. Usually there's a pullback. So I put scenario number one, or really the most likely scenario, is price will pull back somewhere in that box area and then continue higher with that momentum, that bullish momentum continuing into the uptrend. Or price pulls back to the box, maybe a little bit of a pause or even a small bounce, but then ultimately heads lower going into June. So that's another possibility. I don't really think it'll go down far if it does. I mean, we definitely have some layers of support along the way. Although, hey, in this market, anything can happen. All it needs is a catalyst to push price up or down. Right now, we're seeing that bullish activity, so we'll stay with that until proven otherwise. So the bottom line here is look for strong stocks that have similar bullish patterns, but are pulling back into some better structure, some more bullish evidence, some more bullish pattern structures would be the way to go here. Or if you just want to trade the SPY, there you go. There's your setup. Wait for it to pull back near that box pattern, that 412-ish range right there, and look for some bullish setups. As we move into the NASDAQ, a quick reminder here, we do have a free trading community. I'll put the link in the description below. No obligation. Just come and get some free education and maybe some free digital coffee along the way. All right, so the NASDAQ 100, let's take a peek at that. Monthly chart, we do see some strong bullish momentum, unlike the SPY, which was more kind of a meandering, slow move up. The bulls are running in the NASDAQ. Now, I want to be clear on this, though. It's not all bulls running. There's really more like, a small group of strong alpha bulls that are running uphill here, and all the other bulls are taking a nap. So when it comes to the NASDAQ, you got your big leaders, NVIDIA for one, Apple, and, the big names basically are the ones really pulling the NASDAQ up. And then you got the smaller no-name out there, or just even your smaller, medium-sized NASDAQ companies out there, not really doing a whole lot to move or fuel this move higher. So that is something that every NASDAQ trader should be aware of. I definitely think we got the momentum to push up into that 340, 350 bearish area up there. And then I would expect to see some strong sell-off, some strong profit taking if price can get up in there, if price can get up into that area. And then I'd definitely start looking for some shorting opportunities up there as well. On the weekly charts, we are currently right now inside a bearish location. So another reason to expect a pullback, at least temporarily anyway. And so wouldn't necessarily go looking for shorting opportunities because you do have strong bullish momentum going on. The bulls are in control. In other words, you got your higher highs, your higher low, strong momentum. It just broke out of that box pattern right there. So I put down there bullish support or demand location there about the 320 area. You have another one down quite a bit lower, about the 295-ish area. So those are really the two main areas to buy if price gets there. On the sell side, we have bearish areas up there about the 340 and then the 360 area, which is in right now, the 340 area. So that's what I'm saying. You could look for shorting opportunities if it meets your trade plan requirements. Just make sure you understand it's probably going to be a short-lived trade. You're trading counter trend. You know, the odds are against you, in other words, overall. It might give you a nice little short-term move, but that's really about it for now, unless we see this thing just collapse and then obviously you hit a home run, but that's just not likely. All right, on the daily chart, here's what I'm talking about here. We can see, yeah, it's possible it goes higher from where it's at right now. It's just not probable. The probabilities lie in a pullback, a downward move in direction, and that's the most probable scenario. So I labeled some bullish areas to consider for your bullish trading tactics. The first one's about the 322 area. If price does pull back into there, it'd be a good spot for some bullish trading tactics. And then the second one, about the 315, 318 area right there. If it can have that big of a pullback, that'd be a pretty big pullback, pretty deep pullback. But hey, it could happen. So just be prepared if it gets there. But I think really that 322 would be a nice spot right there and a lot more probable and realistic for it to settle down and start to reverse right in that area there. So the other thing to consider is, there really may not be a whole lot left in the tank here to fuel this rally that we've seen here. Again, it's a few big names leading the charge. And once the fanfare and momentum and all that stuff starts to slow down in those, then the NASDAQ in general is really going to start to sink down quite a bit lower. So something definitely to be aware of on that. So the price is really stretched right now. I mean, you can just see it's that big move, that big rally that it's had the past couple days, in fact. The big, tall, expanded range blue candles right there. That's really stretching price movement. Again, yes, there is a possibility it can go higher. It can. It's just not very probable. So I'm just saying, hey, look, I don't know which way it goes, but it will go, guaranteed, either up, down, or sideways. And so we have a plan for either scenario. All right, so there's our two buy zones worth considering, those bullish areas down there. Stay tuned for weekly market updates. I'll see you back here next week. God bless and good trading, and have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.